So Chloe, as I said, is a dear friend of mine. We taught together in Riverdance, where Chloe was the principal dancer. I believe, was it for 10 years, 12 years?
It's almost 12. Well, 12 years with the show, yeah.
Which is just an incredible achievement, probably one of the longest running female leads, I'm sure. I don't know what the history is on that, but definitely one of the longest. And Chloe is also a fully qualified personal trainer and yoga teacher, and she's of course the founder of From Head to Toe Academy, which we're going to talk a lot about tonight. And she's also the co-founder of Kilo Gear Cut. So you're a very busy girl, Chloe, very busy. How do you do all of that? How do you manage all of that? That sounds like a lot.
Well, I actually so it's funny that the busyness thing, I actually mentioned this recently on a podcast that, it's become like a thing, isn't it, to have like that busy badge of honor kind of thing. Oh, I'm just busy. But to me, busy kind of means stress. So I'm busy enough. I'm busy enough for me, right? I kind of take on what I know I can manage. And then I have to leave other things sometimes because I know I don't cope well with too much stress and overwhelm. So yeah, I'm busy, but I'm also pretty good at sort of taking some time out as well and listening to myself and knowing when I need to just chill.
That's good. I think that's a really good quality to have, because I feel like I'm getting better at that, but I still have problems with I think I have like an obsessive kind of personality where I'm, and I'm not saying you're not a workaholic, because you clearly are, but I think I've got it's almost like, to me, like I can't, find time sometimes to relax when I know I should, and you're obviously very good at that, which is...
Because I wasn't once before, yeah, because I've learnt my lesson.
And I feel like, because we've talked about this and me joining your yoga and stuff like that, and I do feel like that's something that actually really would benefit people like me who haven't learned to, cut back and have time for themselves and to relax and just to turn off, the mind and really sort of focus on what's going on in your body rather than entertaining yourself with, work and Netflix and computer games and those kind of things.
I think it's hard, isn't it? I think when you work for yourself as well, when you're, self-employed and you spend so much time sort of doing things for others as well, and just keep thinking, oh God, I've got to just keep going because I've got to earn a living, and it can be hard then to switch off. So it's definitely important to develop that skill and to learn to be able to do that, to be able to take time for yourself. It's one thing to help others, but ultimately gotta take care of yourself first.
Well, I'm going to learn that from you, Chloe, and you're going to help me get there.
We'll get there.
So let's start from the beginning, shall we? And let's tell our viewers a little bit about how you started Irish dancing. How did you get into it? How old were you? I presume it was in London somewhere.
Close. I was actually born in Essex. I was born in Southend-on-Sea. Now British people would be like, why on earth did she admit that? But yeah, I was Essex girl, really.
Southend-on-Sea.
But I grew up in a place called Northamptonshire, and I actually started Irish dancing when I was about 8 years old, after seeing Riverdance on the TV, and like most of the world, that initial 7-minute interval act, I guess blew me away, right? Like most other people, and I hadn't really heard much about Irish dancing before that. My parents aren't Irish. In fact, I have no Irish connection at all, other than now my connection to Irish dance and my friends. But my dad's side of the family was French. My mum grew up in England. And I wouldn't say Irish dance came naturally to me. I had turned in feet. I had slightly bow legs. I had wings for arms. And on top of that, I had a very anxious mind. So it started off so well. When I say the anxious mind, my dad, he was very supportive, a fantastic man. And he took me along to my first dance class because I'd said to my parents, listen, I want to try this. This looks amazing. And I was an active little girl, but I wanted to try Irish dancing. So he took me along, he drove me sort of 45 minutes to my first dance class, and then I froze in the car. And I could hear the taps, because in England it's all school, it's like church halls. I could hear the taps on the floor and I could hear the music, but I just froze in the car and was like, Dad, no, I don't want to go in there, that's scary. So he was like, okay. He was like, I thought you wanted to Irish dance. So then he turned the car around and drove home. He wasn't one of those sort of pushy, like, I'm going to drag you in there. Well, until the third time. So we drove home the 45 minutes, we went back for it, anyway. So the third time, where I started to cry and panic again, he was like, oh, come on, I'm not having this, you obviously want to be here. So he opened the car door, dragged me out there and shoved me in the class, and I'm so glad he did. Thank God he did, because obviously it ended up changing my life. Same thing happened again, my first competition. I went on stage, pointed my toes, very shaky leg, music starts, ran off, and sort of clung on to my dad. So just, you know, that kind of sort of stayed with me. But I did compete for a number of years once I did sort of get going and sort of really get out of the comfort zone a little bit more. Competed for a number of years, and it became something that me and my dad did together. So he was very much my support system, and during all of those times of overwhelming nerves, you know, he was calm, and really you could say he was like the perfect fesh dad, right? He was that sort of calming influence that I needed. But the end result, you know, with dad, the end result of competing was never spoken about, which was great, right? He didn't focus on the results, he just wanted me to get up there and enjoy myself, which really is what we should all be doing. And you know, that was a good thing really, because the results were very inconsistent, so thank God he didn't focus on the results. But so that was my competitive career. It was, you know, it's up and down as it is. We all go through sort of challenges and disappointing results every now and then, and all that kind of stuff. But there was times of joy, I promise. I did enjoy it sometimes.
Yeah, well, that's great. You know, it sounded like he was, like you said, the perfect fesh dad, someone that was really supportive, and you know, was just glad that you were enjoying yourself and that you were doing something that you liked doing and wasn't focused on, you know, getting results. And, you know, because we've all seen people like that. And to be honest, I'm glad that my family were supportive like that as well and not pushy. I think it just, you know, they sort of leave you to it. And I think that's the right thing to do, you know, not be, obviously be encouraging, but not too pushy to the point where it sort of, you know, it's puts them off of it, or just creates like conflict, because at the end of the day, you know, people are going to decide whether they want to keep doing it or not after they've tried it, I suppose. But it's obviously great that you did keep going, and you know, you obviously competed then. So did you compete right up until you started auditioning for shows?
Okay, so I actually quit dance at around 17, 18. I quit completely. It was like, and I don't know why, I loved it, but by that stage the sort of disempowering thoughts that I would have, that sort of vicious cycle, kind of led me to quit dance. So I quit, didn't think I was good enough for shows, even though from the minute I saw Riverdance, the dream, I wouldn't necessarily, was it the goal? Maybe the dream and the vision was to be on stage with Riverdance. That was, of course it was. And I think it is for most Irish dancers, right? Whether it's Riverdance or Lord of the Dance, it's the pinnacle of our career. And as I wasn't doing so great in competition as well, I was kind of hoping that I can manage my nerves one day to then be able to get on the big stage. But I got scared, so I quit. And I, you know, but then I had, sorry, I'm stuttering a bit now, I had the same questions at that time that a lot of dancers had as well. Like, how do you develop the strength to be able to jump higher? How do I keep my wing arms in? How do I turn out my feet and cross my legs a bit more and all that kind of stuff? So I was lucky enough back then to have a great coach. I had a really good strength and conditioning coach, and he helped me and he advised me, and then he kind of inspired me to become a personal trainer. So I thought, when I quit dance, was very confused at the time, didn't know what to do, like a lot of 16, 17 year olds, 18, just sort of figuring out life. With the dream still being there to be in shows, I was just going to go down the training route and thought, okay, maybe I can have the confidence to help dancers in their physical fitness. You know, so, and it was a passion, like I said, I was inspired by my coach. So a few years passed, was a personal trainer, I was working at a gym, and I couldn't stop thinking about how much I missed dance. And I used to have these conversations all the time with my dad. In fact, we'd very rarely get together and chat and not talk about dance. And he said, Chloe, what a shame. He was like, get back in the studio. Why don't you at least audition for a show, even if it's not Riverdance, so, you know, audition for a show. And I said, oh, I can't do that. I was like, I've been out now for a couple of years. Like, Jesus, I didn't have the confidence 2 years ago, let alone now after I've quit. I was like, I can't do that. But I did. I got back into the studio, and dancing again was kind of like therapy for me. So I started dancing, playing the music again, like loved it. I would often sort of leave dance class and dance practice upset and emotional. It just sort of brought out something in me. And my dad video recorded me dancing one day in the studio, and he sent it to Riverdance, because if I waited until I was ready, I'd never have done it. I had that perfectionist mindset like most dancers have, and I thought, no, I'm going to wait until I'm perfect again, right? I was never perfect in the first place, but you know, my mind at the time was like, no, I need to be so much better than this, otherwise I don't stand a chance. So he recorded it, just sent it. And then we got an email like a month or so later asking if I'd audition the following year. Oh no, it was that summer. And so yeah, that's kind of when the journey began. 2007 I auditioned for the show. Again, I'll maybe come into that story of what happened then at the audition, but it was from there, I guess, I was able to, once I got into the show, my audition was successful. Couldn't believe it. But once I got in, I was able to then sort of marry my love of fitness and personal training, strength and conditioning with my Irish dance, with my performance, and then sort of work with the cast over the years. And yeah. So that's it in short. It's long, but that's short.
Sounds like those two things obviously go well together, you know, because I think up until actually I met you in Riverdance, I hadn't really seen anyone talk about, you know, us actually being athletes and, you know, getting into shape and looking after our bodies, and it was only really, I think, probably around that time and afterwards that more of these sort of people have, like, you know, popped up in the Irish dancing world. And I think before that, like pre that, there wasn't really much of that going on or people talking about it. So I think for you coming into Riverdance, and especially obviously you know, the biggest Irish dance show of them all, I suppose that was a really good platform for you as well to sort of, you know, pass on your knowledge of that to the other river dancers, and I guess give you the confidence then to launch, you know, and use dance and fitness into something that, you know, you wanted to do maybe as your career after Riverdance, you know.
Yeah, well, you get a lot of time on your hands as well, don't you, on tour? And so I'd spend sort of time on the coach or whatever, you know, those long travel days, and quite often I'd listen to a podcast to do with fitness, or I'd open a book or take on a new course or something, because, you know, the time was going by and I just wanted to learn. So, and then I'd try and put it into action sort of on myself, and then use you guys as little guinea pigs sometimes as well.
I remember like everyone getting really motivated when, because I think shortly after that, maybe in 2008 or 2009, I think we toured together, and I remember being in Scandinavia with you, and I remember sort of a lot of people then using you as like a personal trainer on tour, and I think there was a real like fitness buzz going on, and that was all really created by you. I remember that, because I remember even, you know, me back then, I was like, yeah, Chloe, make me into this, you know, big fit guy or whatever, and it probably lasted about 2 weeks and then I gave up, but it definitely worked for a lot of the other people who kept it up. How long were you in Riverdance for then in the end?
So I was there for roughly 12 years. After about 18 months, I was asked to take on the principal lead role, which was way beyond even a dream. You know, people ask, you know, was that always the goal? Was that the sort of dream? And no, hell no, I didn't. You know, I remember the time we were in Toronto, and I remember the opportunity for the female cast to audition for a lead role came up, and my immediate thing was an excitement, like it should have been. Everyone else was like, oh, okay, great, let's give it a go. And I was like, oh, hell no, I'm not doing that. I just like panicked again. I was like, no, I don't want to compete against my cast friends, and I can't do this. No. So again, I began to talk myself out of it, and but with encouragement from a good friend on tour who was a lead at the time, Alana Mallon. She sort of took me in and took me under her wing and said, come on, Chloe, you got to give it a go. The other girls are doing it. Come on. And then my dad, obviously, I rang him and he was like, oh, come on, you've got to do it now. What have you got to lose? I was like, you didn't think you'd get in the show. You might as well give this a go. So again, a few words of encouragement and a little bit of talking to myself, and I ended up doing the audition, and and that was successful. And really, I have Brendan DeGalley to really thank for that as well, because not only did he sort of put me in the show in the first place as a troupe dancer, it was his decision to make me a lead dancer. So I'll be forever grateful to him for that opportunity. But like I say, that was beyond my wildest dreams. And I don't even think I ever did dream about it, because it just wasn't on my radar. So,
you didn't even think it was, you were going to get asked. It was just a complete shock. That's amazing though. It just goes to show how sort of modest you were, and how, you obviously were a perfectionist and thinking, oh, I'm not good enough to do that yet, sort of thing. But they obviously saw something in you that they thought that you were capable of it. So
yeah, something that I didn't see in myself, and you see that a lot in dancers. Teachers' parents, they see a lot in their kids and their dancers, and it's finding that internal belief though. It's a tough one. I mean, Chris, I said I'd tell you the story about my audition. I'll very quickly tell it, because again, it's another long story. So many long stories, guys. But I flew to Dublin with my dad. Again, he was very supportive, so obviously he was there with me for my audition. We were very much a team in this, right? So we went to the front of the Gaiety Theatre, audition day. It's about an hour before the audition at this point. And I went to the front of the Gaiety Theatre and looked at the cast list. Big mistake. And I know a lot of competitors will resonate with this, because I know I listen to you guys all the time, and you guys go to a competition, you look at the list and who you're on stage with, and then that triggers anxiety. Well, I did that. So I saw all these names. You were probably on it, Chris, I don't know. I saw all these names, Ellie Maguire's, Jordan Osborne's, there was a bunch of names, not Jordan Osborne, she joined with me, Ellie Maguire, Kelly Stevens, a few other names that I recognised from my competition when I was competing. Not only were they in my competition, they were champions. And I wasn't, by far. Right? I just about recall sometimes at a Worlds, and back then, I wouldn't say it was a bit easier, but I mean the standard has just sort of grown over the years. So now a recall is gold. If you get a recall, you're incredible. But anyway, looked at this cast list, and then once again, these overwhelming thoughts crept in. I'm not good enough. These guys are better than me. What's the point? So then I start to cry, and I'm 21 at this stage, and I was like, Dad, I can't, I'm not going to do it. I was like, I can't, I was so upset, and I said, I just feel terrible in myself. I just don't have it, Dad. And, so once again, he was there with me for the audition, yeah. He was like, oh, come with, yeah, let's have a little weekend in Dublin kind of thing. And then, so, we were like friends. We'd been on this journey together since I was 8 years old, since he shoved me in the dance class. So, and he was there throughout all of my competitions, and like the ups and downs, the highs and lows, the challenges, the disappointments, the fun time. He was very much there. So of course he came along to my audition, and that happens. So poor Dad's like, oh my God, Chloe, here we go again. I'm sure he was in his mind. So he said, okay. He says, well, you know me, I'm not going to force you to do anything. You're not doing it? Okay, let's go for a walk around. So we had a walk around. I'm still like this up and down Grafton Street, and then we decide we just popped into a place and sat and had a chat for a while. He's just like, and I'll never forget his words. He was like, Chloe, I know you don't believe in yourself. He says, you never have done. We've been through this forever. He says, but I believe you can do it. He says, I always have done, and I still do. He says, the thing that I worry about with you is that you're going to live to regret this. You'll look back and you'll never know, because you didn't give it a go. He says, that's where, and he started to tear up, and I said, and he was like, I'm sorry, I need to be strong. And I was like, no, Dad. And I was like, yeah, you're right though. So 20 minutes before the audition, I wiped my tears. Well, at that point, firstly, I had a meltdown, because then my makeup wasn't right? I cried, so I had mascara down my face and lipstick everywhere and whatever. So then that became a problem. Didn't look good now. So I ran to the bathroom, wherever I was, and fixed myself, came out, I was like, okay, let's do it. So he was like, really? So then we got up, and I sort of ran backstage and I did it, and I hardly remember it because I was just too exhausted and worked myself up too much, but that adrenaline obviously got me through it, and there you go. So there's another sort of story there.
And you turned into the greatest, longest serving principal dancer Riverdance has ever had. That's incredible though. Just it goes to show that we're not all like super confident, and we all need a push sometimes, and we're not all aware of what we're capable of. And I'm so glad personally that your dad made you audition, because otherwise I wouldn't have met you, and all of those people in Riverdance wouldn't have met you, and you wouldn't have gone on to achieve all the things that you have potentially. So
life would have been very different.
Yeah,
very, very different.
I remember meeting your dad a couple of times, and he was the absolute gent. Like I think it was in Scandinavia or somewhere that we had a few drinks and stuff, and he was just such a nice guy. You could tell he was so proud of you being in the show, and I think at that point, I'm not sure if you were principal yet or not, but I'm sure once he found out you were the principal dancer, then he must have been absolutely...
He came out to Japan and that as well. I remember we all had a good time with him. But yeah, I mean, again, just very much, he was just a beautiful man. You know, he wasn't judgmental in any way. He was there to watch, to enjoy it, he was one of those people who didn't have a bad word to say about anybody. So when it came to, even I look back now at competing as a parent, if something didn't go well for me, it was never anybody else's fault. He was never, well, they're not as good as you, and that was never a thing. It was just like, well, that's all right. What can we do to get better? He had a fantastic mindset, and yeah, as I say, he loved the show. He really enjoyed it, of course.
So all those years of touring anyway, what's your favourite place that you've ever been to, or your favourite venue, or do you have one?
Yeah, so favourite place. Well, there's a bunch, but favourite place, probably Hawaii. I know Hawaii was on the cards, I think, for a few times for Riverdance, and I think they always got cancelled, so we didn't really ever believe that we were there until we were actually there. So that was a fantastic time. Loved Hawaii, loved touring the States and Canada. I spent most of my touring days touring the States and Canada. It's really hard to sort of pinpoint one place. And usually for me, it's about the memories and the experience I had there. So Toronto, for example, we were there once for 4 or 5 weeks, and it was one of the just most amazing times of my life. That's where I did my Riverdance lead audition, all that kind of stuff as well, the build up to that. And so that experience was incredible. And but venue-wise, it has to be the Gaiety Theatre in Dublin. It's where it all started for me. It's where I did my first lead show. It's where, whenever I go back, those memories come flooding in, and I just adore the stage. It's really kind of intimate and it's gorgeous.
Yeah, believe it or not, I've never performed at the Gaiety. All the years of Riverdance that I did, I never did the Gaiety. I think it was because they always used to say that you had to get your own accommodation and you don't get the per diems and stuff like that. So I know I probably should have done it just for the experience, but never end up doing the Gaiety. But I have watched a bunch of shows there. I've definitely watched you doing a show there before.
Yeah, no, it's a good time. It's definitely a good time, and Dublin's a great city.
Yeah, it's not like, one of your big prestigious arenas or massive theatres like Radio City or something, but it obviously holds, loads of memories for you, and that's obviously...
Yeah, it's the feeling, isn't it? It definitely brings up a few feelings and emotions when I go there. So
I know a very popular one normally is, have you ever fallen over on stage? So I'll ask you that one.
Yeah, a few times. Yeah. One that sticks out of a falling over incident. It was a lead show in, I think was it somewhere in Germany? Yeah, and the shows go down really well in Germany. It was packed, and I think I just skipped on in Heartland, and I think James Green at the time was my lead partner, and he sort of skipped on and I skip on. It's sort of when we come back on stage, and I did this click, and then legs went up on my back, and I remember the whole audience going, ooh! And then I jumped back up and sort of gave him a bit of a wave and continued. They were like, way! So that felt good. But it was like, I'm okay. One of the biggest things that I think still actually gives me a bit of anxiety, the thought of what happened, I go back to those feelings. It was my first week in the Boyne Company back in 2009. So the first time I was in America, the new company of dancers, new dance captains, Maeve and Marty at the time, Marty Dowds. And I'm not being funny, Marty, if you listen to this, I'd heard stories, I do a bit strict. And I don't know, I was nervous again. I was a nervous person, right? I'd always been nervous. So we're running through rehearsals, and I knew what dances I was on because we go through the rotations, right? In Riverdance, you're not always on the same dance every night. But for this particular show, I was on first part of Reel Around the Sun, like Countess, Heavy Countess, blah, blah, blah. I knew my show. We'd rehearsed it. So then show starts. We get to Like Countess. Was it Like Countess? Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, but yeah, but yeah.
Wait.
That's Vicky Pollard, isn't it?
No, that was it. Yeah, but no, but. Yeah, I'm just trying to remember the story. Wait, I was actually backstage in my heavy shoes, ready to go on for heavy countess, right? So the girls sort of skip off, they float off from light countess, float off. Only like 3 girls came off this side, and there should have been 4. And me and like the one girl that were about to go on stage for 1, 2 stamp and 2, 2 stamp, we were like, oh, who's missed it? Oh God, someone's missed it. Oh my God, it's the opening show of this new American tour. The producers are out in the thing, the dance director all out in the audience. It's a big deal. Well, and I realized literally, I'd say 3 seconds before I was about to go in, as I count myself in, I could feel like burning sensation coming up my body, my face. I was hot, sweaty, and I was like, that was me. I just realized, I was like, oh my God, that was me. I was on Light Countess. Oh my, and I'll never forget the feeling. I felt sick. And then I had to go on for Heavy Countess and perform. I can only imagine the look on my face for that whole dance. And I could see as well Marty Dowds in the curtain with his arms crossed, like this, looking on stage. And I was like, oh gosh, he's gonna and all I could think then throughout that whole dance as I'm 1, 2 stamping was, I'm going to come off of this and I'm going to be told off, I'm going to lose my job, and all these things were going on in my head. Anyway, it wasn't a disaster, it was okay, and I was so apologetic. I was like, I promise I'm not normally like this, I wasn't like this in the other company. I'm sure they were like, who have we got here? Like,
that's the kind of things that we dream about as performers, like, and then we wake up and we're like, oh, thank God that's not real, you know, but that was real.
Yes, it actually happened. Yeah, the nightmare became a reality.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is the worst feeling as a performer, like that you can't get to the stage in time, or you've got the wrong costume, or you just missed the number and completely forget it.
Yeah, and it happens, right? It happens, and they do make, at the time, they're not funny, as in that, well, you know, they are maybe funny to some people. They're not funny though to the dance director, the dance captains, and you don't find it funny. But years later, they make for incredible stories, and like now it's like really funny to share them. It'd be more boring if you said, have you ever had any incidents or fallen over or made mistakes? And I said, no, I was just fantastic, you know. Yeah. But we all make mistakes. We've all done something silly, or
if you haven't made a mistake, you know, including, you know, being a performer, then you're lying basically, because we've all made mistakes. I mean,
we're dancers and performers, but first and foremost, we are human beings. So just
we all have flaws, and that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
So you've told us your favourite place, and sort of some of your favourite memories. How did you end up at From Head to Toe? Like, so you obviously went through a big journey with your personal training and yoga. What was it that you learned over all those years of studying while you were on tour with Riverdance that sort of led you to the From Head to Toe Academy? And do you want to just tell the audience what From Head to Toe Academy is as well?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, I guess, a little backstory in that first. But I mean, Chris, it's been a journey, right? And in life, we all go through that, like the highs and lows, right? Challenges, obstacles, efforts, like all kinds of different things. And at times throughout my life and career, I just struggled to manage them. I couldn't get on top of my negative thoughts and all that kind of stuff. I mean, people thought I was strong. Right? I was the fitness professional, and then I was a lead dancer, and I was, I was physically fit. That's one thing that I really kept myself fit and strong. But mentally, emotionally, I was really struggling, right? Quite a lot throughout my career. And I guess physical fitness and technical ability in dance and any kind of sport has been at the forefront of what makes a great dancer for years, right? It's what we hear about, you know, your strong, positive mindset, resilience, and physically tough and all that kind of stuff. You know, we work on our technical ability and stuff all the time, but that's great. But what about your mind and your emotional health? I mean, I believe that, you know, really the foundation of wellness, which has become a thing now, but the foundation of wellness is the relationship that you have with yourself. Yeah, and I didn't really have a great relationship with myself. You know, if I could have coached myself in the way that my dad did, or that my dance teachers, or that my family did, it would have been very different. You know, it has to come from in here. You know, we often think of, like I say, nutrition and physical body when we talk of wellness, but it's just so much more than that. And I guess I came to realize that through life experiences and education. I took on courses in mindfulness and yoga, and because I wanted to be a bit more peaceful. I wanted to learn to be a bit more present. You know, without presence and mindfulness, it's very hard to end up performing at your best. You can't do it. So, you know, learning to become aware of thoughts and emotions, I think for dancers and for all of us really is everything. It's going to be so important, because your thoughts and your emotions drive your actions. So if you're having thoughts of, I'm not good enough, they're better than me, I just don't have the confidence, I hear that all the time, you know, that I just don't think I can do it. Those thoughts aren't empowering. You know, they lead you to feel emotional in an anxious way, in a sad way. You know, it really can knock you down. And then ultimately the outcome will be, you're not going to perform your best that way. You know, so I look back now at my career and I think, yeah, okay, I was the principal dancer, but did I enjoy every performance? Was I consistent in every performance? No. I would love to have been more consistent. I would love to have, you know, felt joy in every performance. But to be quite honest, sometimes I'd be backstage and I'd be thinking, oh, I just have to get through this. That's no way to be. And I only recently did a workshop with a dance school, and a dancer said to me, she has those thoughts, she'll be side stage and be like, just get through it, just get through it. You know, how sad. You know, because it goes by so quickly. It goes by so quickly. So my anxiety, my self-deprecating thoughts, they really were running the show most of the time, which wasn't, you know. And when a dance director every now and then would say, you know, Chloe, how do you feel tonight? How do you feel the show kind of went? And sometimes I'd be like, you know, quite honestly, yeah, not very good. And it'd be like, yeah, we can see it in your performance. It shows up, right? It's very hard to mask that. So if you want to perform at your best, not even just dance, but in life, you've got to develop these skills. You've got to learn to develop a loving, more compassionate, nurturing relationship with yourself. You've got to understand that, yes, disappointments and challenges, they arise. They're part of our contract with life, but we need the skills to be able to manage that and get through that, and, you know, just to be able to enjoy our life and enjoy our performances. I didn't have those skills back then, and I really desperately needed help at times. I didn't know where to go for it. I didn't have the help. Yes, physical fitness, I learned about that, and I learned that from many others, but I just wasn't sure. And to be quite honest, I was embarrassed to talk about my anxiety and sometimes my time of you know, depressive thoughts, depressiveness, and I found it embarrassing. It just wasn't spoken about back then. So I'm glad that we're talking about this more. I'm glad there's more help now. I'm glad we're learning more and more about this. But I guess I developed the From Head to Toe Academy because I felt ready now to hold a place for others. I've kind of been working on myself. Not just my physical fitness now, but my overall sense of well-being. I've developed that relationship with myself, and then the other thought was, but I don't know it all. You know, I know bits about nutrition. I am a strength and conditioning coach. It was my main focus for years. I can talk to you about my past experiences and tell you some of the things that have helped me to cope. And I'm now studying yoga and psychology, so, you know, I can put them together now. But I had to bring on a team of people, and I realized that would be really important. A team of people that have similar values to me, that want to help, that come at it from a place of kindness, that encourage each other. And I really think that I have that team now. And I have that in Dr. Lucy Clements, who is a psychologist, and she really specializes in dancers and the mental health and well-being of dancers. So to listen to her talk is so inspiring. You know, she's teaching me so many things already. Something that's become part of our culture and part of social media is like affirmations and just be positive and develop this mindset, and, you know, a get on with it approach is quite there. And, you know, Lucy was discussing with me about the importance of being mindful of what you're affirming on. You know, I used to affirm backstage, I am a dancer, I am an athlete, and I can prove it. And that was, without realizing it back then, that was actually triggering my anxiety. Because being a dancer and being an athlete already gave me a little bit of fear and stuff. So when I started discussing this with her, I was like, I didn't know that. And you go out into the world, and we all do it with good intentions. You know, a lot of us mentors and coaches, we go out into the world with great intentions of dancers, just do this, just do that, just do the other, but we're not really educated in it, and we haven't done the research. So it was, I brought on Lucy. Yeah, I needed to develop a team. Like I said, I don't know it all. So Lucy does that, she takes over that, she's wonderful. Dr. Megan Brown is our nutritionist. Obviously, how you fuel your body as an athlete and a dancer is extremely important. You know, you put the wrong fuel in a car, it's going to conk out after a while. So she helps us with pre-performance nutrition, recovery, hydration, all of those kind of things. I recently brought on Frances Dunn. She's lived it too. She's been professional dancer with Lord of the Dance. She is also a fitness professional, strength and conditioning coach, and she comes at it as well from a really kind, compassionate place. And I love her work. I'd followed her work for a little while. And of course, Peter O'Grady is from Irish Dance and Physical Fitness, a wonderful coach that does work with us, and he is an incredible physical therapist. So it's very much a team thing and a team effort, but all of us understand the importance of yes, the physical body, but the mind which is attached. So I call it the mind body, as well as the nutrition, and developing our overall resilience. These are truly tools that we're all passionate about, and things that I only wish I'd have had years ago. I'm talking from the minute I started. And I guess my first sort of bit of advice would be, start now. Don't necessarily just wait until last minute, or when you think stress is coming, or when a challenge or an obstacle arises. Learn these skills now, because they will help you in life, right? So yeah, we're all so passionate about it, and as I say, we all share the same values.
Yeah, that's so amazing, Chloe. You know, just to hear, obviously, like I'm aware of from head to toe, and I've obviously read about all you guys because you're all involved in the Fusion Dance Fest, and we're obviously offering the Fusion Fighters as an add-on at your guys' workshops and vice versa, which we're talking about in a sec. But just, yeah, like, it's so amazing to hear like it from you in detail, because you're so right. You know, like, we didn't have really those skills or that outlet to learn those skills back then, and it could have benefited all of us. So the fact that people do have people like you and your team, which is just an amazing lineup, sort of covers everything that you need, is just like amazing. You know, people should definitely take advantage of that. You know, because like you said, rather than when you hit the rock bottom to get advice and to get help, get it while, like, you know, before you even have that downward spiral. You know,
do it now. Yeah, I think I just felt years ago, even when I was touring, that there's something missing. There's something desperately needed, because as dancers, as professional athletes, you know, whether you're competing or a professional dancer, there is this culture that we are strong. You know, we are this, that, and the other, and a get on with it approach, as I mentioned, is very much there. But first and foremost, we're human beings, and we all grieve in some way. We all lose loved ones. We all go through challenges. We have serious disappointments. You know, Irish dance teaches us a lot. You know, that not every competition or every performance is going to go your way. How do you learn to manage that? How do you learn to not necessarily bounce back quickly? That's not the whole thing that resilience is about, but just manage those thoughts and emotions, and learn to know that they're okay as well, and they can help you to grow, right? So yeah, I felt in my heart for so long it was important. But a couple of years ago, I did find myself trying to coach and help people, but I wasn't really in a place to do it at the time, because I was struggling. You know, I left the show, and as a lot of professionals or athletes, when they leave their sport or whatever, it can be a tough time. It's a time of grief. You know, you start to think, geez, what next? What am I going to do? I've identified as a dancer for so many years. Now what do I do? And it can lead you to sometimes a tough place. And if you're anything like me, and for your whole life you've had anxiety and times of depression, it can really hit you. Like the brakes kind of hit, and it's like, So I had, and that led me onto yoga, to be honest. You know, it's been a journey, but that journey has led me here. And I am so grateful, and truly, like, I get emotional after every chat with dancers, because I feel like my calling is here, like I'm living what we call in yoga my dharma, and I'm like, I can do good with this. I've struggled, I've had a really tough time at times, but it's led me here, and like I said, I'm really, really blessed.
Yeah, and you're so passionate about it, because obviously it's changed your life, so now you're passionate, and it makes you happy, obviously, being able to pass on that knowledge. And like, I'm just going to say on behalf of everyone, like, that we're just so grateful that you are doing what you're doing, because without people doing that, there wouldn't be an outlet for a lot of these dancers to really get those skills, and it would just kind of go unnoticed, and we'd get on with life and all the struggles that come with it, without learning those skills that you mentioned. So thank you for doing what you do, like, and and it's just like, everyone at some point is gonna have a tough time to deal with, so those skills are obviously going to come in handy for everyone, even if you think you're strong. Like, I used to think I was really kind of quite mentally strong, and all through my 20s and touring the world and doing all these things, and I've had some really big knockbacks and disappointments that in my 30s it's hit me like a ton of bricks, and you don't really think about mental health like as much when you're younger, I don't think, but when you're older it really does hit you, and you're sort of like, wait, am I depressed? Like, what is depression, and how do I deal with this? And so it's great just to have outlets for people to...
Yeah, and just know that we are, it's very much a team effort, but we are there to support you guys, right? And as I said, we take that holistic approach, and it is very important, like mind, heart, body, nutrition, all of it is important. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy that we have it all under that one umbrella, and just know that we'll always come at it from a place of kindness, and we don't just want to build and develop champions. We want you to be a bit more of a champion at life, like managing your thoughts and emotions, and your bringing out your best, most vibrant self is our goal, and I think when that is there, when you can learn those skills, then you're ultimately going to end up dancing and performing your best. I mean, luckily my last year in Riverdance, I went back and I performed my last lead shows over a period of 5 weeks, just the summer before last, I think it was. I mean, everything's just rolling into each week and year now. I don't even know anymore. I think it was a year and a half ago. I was at the Gailey Theatre, and I was able to go back. I'd had a year or so of practicing my yoga, mindfulness, self-reflection, journaling, learning from these experts, and not only just learning, because I think we're good at taking on information, but actually putting it into action. And it had a profound effect on my life. I was able to self-regulate. I'd go to the show and I really enjoyed it. My mind wasn't so much on any disappointments from the past, or, thinking too much about the future and what if they don't like me. And at that point I kind of was like, oh, I don't care anymore. I just want to dance, and I love it, and I enjoyed it, and I didn't really care, yeah, I wanted to be good, but I was in my 30s then, and coming towards the end of my career, and it was only then that I really consistently started to enjoy it. And so I want dancers to start enjoying it from the minute they start until the minute they end, And so yeah, it's what drives me, definitely, is this. There's a need for it, there's a want for it, and we're here to help.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I mean, it's so important to, be happy, and obviously being happy is just we feel like sometimes it's such a hard thing to do consistently, but I think what we can do is at least do the right things and look after your body, look after your mind, and at least then you learn how to cope with almost everything, and live your best life, sort of thing.
Absolutely. And it's not even that need, for example, to be happy or consistent happiness as such. It's that, so for example, I still have, I'm saying I've overcome these things and blah blah blah, yeah, but I still have very overwhelming days. I still get very anxious and like talking, or I still get but I can manage them now, and I deal with them with a bit more compassion. So if these negative thoughts come up, which sometimes they still do, for many years for me it was, I'm not smart. So it took me a long time to start studying again, because I told myself, my narrative was, I'm not a clever person, that's for other people. So I've had to unwind that. So now when things like that come up, or I say a self-deprecating thing to myself, like I'm just not good enough, or I didn't do that well, I'm able to go, no, wait a minute. I can reframe it and say, no, you've done great up until I can support myself now. I can wholeheartedly say that I can coach myself a little bit like my dad used to. I kind of talk to that inner child and be like, it's okay, you're doing your best. And then the times I'm not, I can be like, you're not doing your best, come on. But I deal with it from a place of compassion. You should hear the conversations I actually have with myself sometimes. You'd think I'm a bit cuckoo. But you've got to talk to it. Talk to the inner critic and be like, okay, I can see you, I can hear you, you're there, you're annoying, you're not helping me. But then reframe it, and you can develop empowering thoughts. A lot of dancers will say to me, I'm just not confident, I just can't, I just know that's up for other people. No, believe it or not, you can develop it. If you'd have said to me a number of years ago that you can develop it and I can be confident and I can experience joy and excitement, and I'd be like, no, that's other people. But you can, right? You absolutely can. It takes a village. It takes a village, which is why we have a village.
Yeah, well, it's inspirational what you do. We've got a few comments here. One of them saying 100% and learn to reach out in tough times, which is absolutely true. I think we've all been there where we don't I think you mentioned it earlier where you said you were embarrassed about the way that you thought and what you were going through. And I think a lot of people, it's a natural human instinct to sort of keep our problems to ourselves, but I think that's absolutely right. Definitely reach out, especially if you're having a really tough time and you need help, and you should definitely reach out.
Absolutely, and you do, of course you feel embarrassed, because it's the culture as well that's created around sometimes sports and athleticism and being a dancer and a strong dancer and a champion and whatever else, is that we're strong and we're tough and we're mental toughness. We talk about that and hear about that a lot, which is fine, but like I said, we're first and foremost humans and we have emotions. We have all of that kind of stuff, so it's being kind to yourself during those times, and I think it's so important to learn that, to develop those skills and those tools. But yeah, no, it's the support is there, guys. It's and we're more than happy to help you, but we continue to learn. Like I said, I certainly don't have all the answers, but I feel like as a team, and as we keep learning and growing, we can keep finding the answers. But we do listen to you guys. We listen to what you go through and what you need, and that's how we grow.
Yeah, well, I for one can't wait to join up from Head to Toe Academy. We've got another comment saying, it was amazing meeting Chloe at Fusion Dance Fest 2019. Still haven't forgotten about the potential workshop we chatted about. That's from Mitchell Dance Platform. I think that was when we were talking about, was it like doing the health and wellness kind of festival or something? I think you and Lorcan were talking about that at some point.
I mean, I think back then there were so many different things. I was like, do I do this? Do I do that? What can we do? But yeah.
This festival sounds like a good idea. By the way, Lorcan's going to be doing these podcasts as well with some guests coming up, and we're going to do some joint ones as well. So there's going to be 3 different kind of outlets, one for the Fusion Fighters, one for the Mitchell Dance Platform and Mitchell Music, and then a collaborative one just for you guys to look out for. So yeah, obviously you really focus on like the mind and stuff, which I think is really, really great. I for one definitely need help in that area, so I will definitely be using your guys' words of wisdom and what you guys have to offer, and I hope some of you guys listening will as well, because it'll definitely be worth it. So those of you that come into Fusion Dance Fest, what can they expect at the Fusion Dance Fest? Obviously you're going to be doing a little Zoom session every day between you and your team.
Yeah, well, you can expect that holistic approach, right? Working on the mind and the physical body and learning about nutrition. So you'll come away with a lot of skills and tools. I'm going to open it up even to Fusion Dance Festers. Contact us. Let us know what you got. It's your fest, right? So let us know what you want to learn about, whether it's, things to do with you're going to get a session from each of us. You're going to get yoga and mindfulness with me. and breath work. You're going to get nutrition with Dr. Megan Brown, dance psychology with Dr. Lucy Clements, and then strength and conditioning with Fran. So if there's certain areas of your dance, your physical body and your dance performance you want to work on, well then Fran can help you with it. Ask us questions. You know, the mindset, is it pre-performance anxiety? Is it managing that inner dialogue, that self-talk? Is it confidence? What is it? Ask Lucy. Yeah, let us know. You know, we're open to suggestions, and from there we can put a plan together, and you'll also have an opportunity to ask us questions at the time as well. But yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll have to put your the handle in when we post the video. We'll put the From Head to Toe handle, and Chloe's handle. So if you want to reach out to them, that's a brilliant idea. You know, you tell them, guys, what do you want from the fest, because they're there to do whatever you guys want. So yeah, that's great. So what dates have we got you then? We've got August 2nd to August 8th is Fusion Dance Fest online, so we'll probably see them working with you guys from the 2nd to the 6th or something like that. I don't think we've actually worked on dates, but as soon as we have those dates, guys, we're going to put them up. And I think there's also a deadline next week, just to FYI for people. If you're considering to sign up to the Fusion Dance Fest, I'd try and do it in the next week, because otherwise you won't get your welcome package on time. So just a FYI, if you're thinking of signing up. Yeah, I think I might have got through all of my questions.
That's okay, but yeah, you know, with the Dance Fest, guys, like it's going to be a great time over the summer to sort of keep up your training, keep up your love and joy of dance. I know a lot of people take breaks, and that's great, but you definitely want to sort of get to September as well, don't you, in a rock to season and all that, and as we slowly get back to competitions with a skill set, with the new skills and new tools to use, and then obviously developing those performance skills with the Fusion Fest team. I think all of that kind of stuff is important, and you're obviously just going to have a fun time. So
yeah, exactly. They get the sort of experience of both worlds, really, from having you guys there. It's almost like, you know, a chance for them to forget about the choreography for a minute and actually, you know, learn about how to relax and
yeah, to chill out afterwards.
I suppose. So yeah, it's quite intense. If you've never done Fusion Dance Fest, you know, ask any of our cast members about the experience. But you know, we always get great feedback, you know, about people's confidence, and I think that's one of the biggest things that comes out of it. And also just the fact that you get to meet people from all over the world that have a similar interest as you. And so we often see people come together at Fusion Dance Fest and you know, see them 5 years later and they're still like best of friends. You know, it really does create a lot of friendships, and I think having Chloe and her team on board again is just gonna give that extra dimension where you come away from it also with all those skills that you need for your mindset and your well-being. So yeah, I think we make a pretty good team. So between that, and we have Ellie Mae Wheeler, who will be interviewing, who's going to teach them how to do their makeup and stuff like that for a show.
Amazing. I wish I'd have had that back years ago as well. I remember the first time I went on tour with Riverdance, I think I went with a makeup bag like this big. And I remember the other girls kind of looking at me like, oh my God. I just didn't know. I was a bit of a tomboy as well. I was like, what am I doing on tour with Riverdance? I had a small bit of makeup. I think I had like blue eyeshadow. And I sort of went like this. And a bit of blusher. And then I had to borrow someone's lipstick.
It sounds like you needed Ellie Mae Wheeler when you were crying before your audition, so she could have...
Oh, I needed her, yeah.
But it obviously didn't matter.
No, Brendan didn't judge me for the mascara down my cheeks.
Yeah, they were just talking about you afterwards, saying her makeup was a bit dodgy, but she was a good dancer.
We can teach that.
Yeah, we'll have to work on that, Chloe. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, yeah, so many good times touring the world, and now you've found your passion to work on From Head to Toe. So life is good, and yeah, it's great to have you on board. Yeah, it's great to have you as a friend. To be honest, you've been a great friend over the years. You know, you're an inspiration to a lot of people, so just keep doing what you're doing. And we also have to say that Chloe is in America right now and she'll be there till the end of June, beginning of July sort of time.
First, I don't even know. So I'm doing a few bits on now over the next couple of months, but I try to live, actually, talk about living in the present moment. I'm not very good at like sort of thinking about next week and the week after and the week after that. So when people ask, oh, what's your 4-year plan? Jesus, I'm just trying to get through this week.
Just as well I didn't ask what you see yourself in 5 years then.
I don't know the answer to that question. I'm going to be here at least probably until August.
Okay, cool. So just so you guys
I'll
know,
see where the wind blows me.
You want to book Chloe, she's actually available. She's traveling around, clearly with no plan of what's happening the next week. So just, contact her a week before, I'd say, and she'll come along and do a workshop at your school, and you get to meet her in person. Beg your dance teachers, say, we want Chloe and From Head to Toe into our studio, because there isn't really that many people, obviously, over in the States right now doing the workshops because of the pandemic. Like I mentioned, I'm not allowed over. I have an O1 visa and I'm not allowed there. It's kind of crazy that, it's very limited to just residents, and so there's not many people over there doing workshops at the moment. So if you are looking for a workshop, or your dance school is, definitely contact Chloe.
Yeah, we just did a weekend there, actually in Rochester, and it was lovely. We delivered the first couple of workshops on behalf of the From Head to Toe Academy, and I did live stream Lucy in the class. So, you get me, but we're offering bespoke sort of classes. So as a dance teacher, you might say, well, our class needs this. Collectively, they need a bit more of this, or they need a bit more of that. So, we can offer that kind of bespoke experience. So I can be there in person, but then we can live stream the full team if you wish to have the full team.
So it's like a bit of a pick and mix. They could just choose what they want, and
what do you want? What do you need? Another thing that's actually just come up is the need for, a couple of parents actually spoke to us over the weekend saying, do you do workshops for parents and teachers? And we said, well, yeah, but of course, Lucy is especially passionate about talking to parents, because I was lucky, as I say, to have a parent that was very supportive and calm, because I needed a calm person around me. And so how do you manage your anxious dancer, or prepare them, or maybe not talk so much about the outcomes, or like how do you manage that? Because none of us are really trained in that, right? We don't really know. And I know a lot of parents can have that experience of, I don't know what to do, and it's like, okay, well, now we can help you. Now we can help you guys develop some skills to help support your dancer as well. So if there's an openness to that, that's where we're here, is to support not only the dancers but the parents and dance teachers.
That's great, actually, because obviously there's a massive, like every dancer has a dance parent that is involved with, looking at making sure the dancers prepared for the competitions and the things that obviously they're all going through. I feel like the parents are just as invested as the dancers in a lot of cases. So it's really important that the parents are the ones getting a lot of this information.
Yeah, it's important to have them involved, especially even with nutrition. I mean, nutrition. A lot of the parents, especially with the younger dancers, the parents are doing the food shop.
Right.
So it's important to, I guess, reach the parents to
living on Pop-Tarts and stuff like that.
Yeah, otherwise some of the kids might be like, yeah, Mum, it's okay, they said I can just eat Pop-Tarts and I can, and this donut is, so.
In America, Hot Pockets.
Hot Pockets, yeah.
They're not the healthiest snacks. But yeah, nutrition was something that I never thought about as a dancer, like even as a professional dancer. I just didn't think about anything. And I got through it and, still had a good career and stuff. But looking back on it, if I'd have looked after myself, I could have lasted much longer, and been much healthier and fitter and all those things. But, I think at least now that we know these things are more available and are really crucial, and we are athletes, and I think it's because we were sort of told we were dancers and it was just a hobby, and we didn't really see ourselves as athletes, and I think now it's
that's evolved. Yeah, it's evolved. It's naturally become more athletic. It's crazy. And to be fair though, Chris, when it comes to nutrition, when you're like in the back whatever of China, sometimes it's very difficult, isn't it, to focus on your nutrition. So you just take what you can get and what you can communicate, or and sometimes, to be fair, in the States, if you're on the the hotel on the side of the road, one of those, and there's a Waffle House and there's a Denny's over there, you do what you can. But the times when there was a time when it was myself, Patrick O'Mahony, Maggie Darlington, I think Gianna, there's a bunch of us on tour that ended up doing food parties in the room with our George Foreman grills. The amount of times we got in trouble because we'd smoke up the hallways. We weren't supposed to be doing that, but it was like you get sick of feeding yourself rubbish. So you get to the point where, like, okay, I'll take this into my own hands. I'll go to the supermarket, buy some chicken breasts, pop it on the grill, bit of asparagus. So we'd have like little fajita parties, health parties.
Cool. Well, I'd say we're going to wrap it up then. It was great to listen. Thank you, Chloe, says Babsy. Yeah, we smashed it.
You're welcome.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. We really do appreciate all your support of the channel. So before you leave, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe and notification bell, and we look forward to you joining us here the next time.